Segment 3, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Dial us up on the web at www.ntnm.org. At this point, please remember that Jewish Chicago will be coming out right before the start of early voting. And we are printing more copies than ever. We're going to be distributing it throughout, I guess, the nation and around the world, or actually more like Cook County and a little bit around it too, but mainly in Cook County. So, look out for it. At this point, of course, many of you know, and many of you are tuned in because we put a real emphasis on judicial elections and the people that are running for judge. And we like to introduce these people to you in a format that almost no one else does. And it is a pleasure to introduce you to a candidate for Circuit Court Judge, Edward Maloney. How are you?
How are you? Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
First of all, thank you, and I'm glad you were able to make it. And I want to give a special thanks to Tom Stopka for making me aware of you and getting you on the show. And thanks, Tom. I appreciate it.
Yes, he is a good man. Thanks, Tom.
Definitely a very good man. So, tell us about your background.
Well, I'm a Cook County State's Attorney. I've been a Cook County State's Attorney for 22 years. I was born and raised in Chicago. When I was a kid, my family moved out to the northwest suburbs. I grew up in the northwest suburbs, which is where I live now. I lived there with my wife and two daughters, Kate and Lily, who very thankfully look just like my wife. I went to the University of Iowa. I graduated from the University of Iowa, and then I went to John Marshall Law School. I graduated John Marshall in 1989, and I started with the office in December of '89, and I've been there since. I started off in the office. I was in criminal appeals, so I did. I wrote and I argued appeal briefs before the Illinois Supreme Court. After that, I was a misdemeanor assistant out in the suburbs for a year, and then I went to narcotics. I was in special process narcotics for a couple of years. I tried Class X felony narcotic cases. Then after that, I went into the criminal prosecutions bureau. For a time, I worked with the Chicago Police Department as far as taking statements from and giving advice on charging individuals. After that, I went to the Felony Trial Division. I was in the Felony Trial Division for approximately 17 years. About 17 years. I have tried everything from a theft case up until capital murder cases.
So those are very serious cases that take a lot of, you've got to really pre-plan and work hard and study and the whole shot.
It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, but thanks to the dedicated professionals that I worked with, not only my partners in the courtroom, but the police department and forensic scientists and doctors and expert witnesses and all of the people that work very hard every day that don't get a lot of credit, I was able to most of the time successfully prosecute these cases. So, but that certainly wasn't just me. That was the people that I worked with and the people that worked with me. So I thank them for that. After I was in the Felony Trial Division for 16 years, I then left. I was still a state's attorney, but I went to the Civil Division where I did medical litigation and medical malpractice. I defended Cook County Hospital. The doctors and nurses and emergency medical technicians that work for the county. They do a terrific job under very hard circumstances. They're terrific doctors and professionals and are dedicated to work very hard. It was a pleasure to do that. I did that for a couple of years.
By the way, one thing I do want to say is people don't realize how selfless these people are.
No doubt about that.
A lot of these people could get much better paying jobs in the private sector. When my mom was in intensive care at Weiss, and she had the best nurses there, both of them had actually applied to go to county because they were so sick of what the insurance companies do to people at regular hospitals. They figured they can give real care at Cook County.
Right, and the care there is great. I saw how the care there was when I was in the criminal division, but I certainly saw much more of it when I actually got into the civil division, medical malpractice, and really took a good look at how hard these people work and how dedicated they really are. I defended them in state court and also in federal court. I also defended the Cook County Sheriff's Police and the people that work at the Cook County Jail, including the medical technicians and the people that work at CIRMAC. After I did that for a couple years, then I went back to special process. I do kind of a hybrid prosecution now. I do identity theft prosecutions, which mostly involve the elderly and the physically disabled people who seem to be victims of identity theft, which is a dilemma now, which is we're just kind of scraping the top of the iceberg. And I do civil prosecutions in the Daly Center. I represent consumers that have had their money taken from them by people that violate consumer protection acts. So that's basically what I'm doing now, and I've done that for a couple of years.
That's a lot, and that's a very well-rounded background.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, now you're entering. Well, hopefully, it's not. Judicial stuff isn't as political as. It's not like you're trying to give people 40 acres and a mule. And sell it that way.
That sounds nice, but no, I'm not trying to do that.
No. So I mean, are you going? Well, what are you doing to get your name around and get known?
You know what? I've got. Well, the first thing that I did was get petitions. Get the petition requirements and the signatures. I got about 6,000 names.
Nice.
And, that was because of a lot of friends and family who were kind enough and worked extremely hard to help me out. But I also met a lot of people throughout Cook County. I shook their hand and told them a little bit about myself, and that was a fun experience. I really enjoyed that. So that's partially what I'm doing. Another thing is I've gone around to just different groups and talked to them about myself and talked to them about what I think it takes to be a good judge and some of the qualities that I think that I might have to be a good judge. I've also had a couple of fundraisers because this does cost money, and I've
quite a bit,
and people have been very generous and come, and I looked forward to the opportunity to talk to them at that time as well. So,
sounds good. Are you going to other people's events or
yes,
fairs
I am.
and that kind of thing?
Yes, I am. This is how these things work, and this is how. So it's good to go to these things to inform yourself and to contribute to these things to make sure that you have quality people that not only serve in all aspects of the political spectrum, but certainly as judges.
No, for sure. It helps a lot, and it's also good to have friends like Tom Stapka, and we want to thank him for inviting you.
That is correct.
Do you have a website?
Yes, I do. It's edmaloney4judge.com.
E.D. Maloney, M-A-L-O-N-E-Y?
M-A-L-O-N-E-Y, right.
Okay, .com.
Yes.
And we want to thank you very much, Ed Maloney, for being here.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
I want to thank Tom Stapka. I want to thank my entire technical crew, Sonny Hirsch. I want to thank all of you for joining us. On next week's show, we tentatively have Abden Pialish planned, so check it out. He writes more for the daily papers about judicial stuff than just about anybody. We very much look forward to having him. You can check us up on the web at www.ntnm.org. And thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks, Sonny. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you very much.